Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hi, this is Pat Fraley, purveyor of Duck, Dog, and Villain voices, and you're watching Altered Geek.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unlimited episode 36. I'm your host Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week is not Mike Boothninja Powers, but Mike TFG1 Blanchard. Hello.
Hello.
Sir.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
No, I wasn't talking like that. I was just rubbing my nose. Thank you very much.
Forgive me, I'm a little nasally tonight. Allergies.
Yeah, you're talking through your nose.
I'm talking through my nose.
Booth Ninja, his phone booth got infected or something.
He, wasn't feeling well,
Yeah.
so Mike's filling in.
Yay!
Yay! So what's new with you, sir?
I finally got to see not Monster. Oh, God. Damn it. See, that's the problem. You start talking in the Roz voice, and that's the first thing I think of. No. I finally went and saw Muppets Most Wanted, Captain America 2 I saw. Really liked them both. There will be some M-Wire in-depth episodes on them coming up. What else is going on? I'm cautiously skeptically optimistic about the fact that DC is making Dick Grayson the Nick Fury of the DC universe.
Which I'm kind of behind. It just depends on how they go about it.
I don't want to get into it, but that's one thing I noticed this week. I am anxiously waiting for the July solicitations from DC, Marvel, and IDW, as well as Image Comics. Dark Horses came out as of this recording. What else is going on? I am still planning. I'm not sure if I want to reveal this here or not, because I think that a lot of people might comment and say, "Why are you people letting him do this?" I'm turning the pull bag into a television station, people. You snicker because you know it's true. In the month of May, we will have a total, I believe, of 12 podcasts on the pull bag feed, because it is Batman's 75th anniversary. And I tried to get different aspects of Batman's mythos and comics reviewed. We've got stuff like, God, I almost said Legends of the Dark Knight. Wow. The Dark Knight Returns, Year One, Killing Joke, Batman 66. What else? The New 52 stuff. And I kind of went a little overboard in planning this. We're also going to have a huge episode 75 of the Pullback is going to be a huge discussion where myself, Steve, my buddy Dave, and my other buddy Doug come together and talk about our, history with Batman and what Batman has meant to people over the last 75 years. If anyone wants to send us, for the pull bag specifically, 10 minutes or less voicemails telling us, or MP3 files telling us why they like Batman, I will put them in the episode 75 podcast. They need to be 10 minutes or less. You can either send them to feedback@geekcastradio.com for MP3s. Make sure to include your name. Or you can call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. But that's pretty much what I've been planning right now, what I've been doing. I've been full tilt into podcasting. getting stuff done and ready for Batman month on that show. I'm slowly getting together the Tooncast Beyond stuff for a animation direction spotlight this summer. And we're gearing up for the 5-year anniversary contest for GCRN.
Yes, and information about that is on the website. You can actually find out pretty much all you need to find out about it by clicking on the banner at the top of the page. It's also a post. You can access it through our Facebook page, through the main site. Probably that's the easiest method. Has some of the information on it.
Yep.
Doesn't exactly divulge what is going to be given away because, one, I have half of my house packed up. Because I'm slated to move. I'll get into that later, but so I don't exactly have everything out in front of me. I kind of know what some of the things are. It's some of the TV shows and Blu-rays and stuff I've acquired over the last 5 years. Some of the DVDs, some of the trade paperbacks, some of the comics. So a lot of that will be given away. Grand Con, it's dependent on if I hear back about it. I'm pretty sure that, as far as I know, we're supposed to be getting 2 passes. Obviously, if you're not in the Michigan area or planning to come, that will get raffled off separately, if that's the case. But
right,
pretty much all the entries will be for submitting an iTunes review on one of your favorite shows, emailing feedback about how the GCRN has unleashed the geek in you over the past 5 years. You can submit a voicemail doing the same thing if you don't want to do a feedback email. It's, you don't have to do all of them. Only one is required to enter. Although if you do submit 2, and then we like one over the other, then, of course it has more potential to win. No random generator. It's just based on the merit of the answer. Pretty much everybody's going to have still equal ground. It's just going to be based off that. And then, of course, it's only to the continental United States. I'm sorry for everybody else. It's just I'm the one paying to ship it. And being that I don't make any money off it, I'm already going to be, I know, spending a lot. Plus, I have a house that I'm trying to pay for at the moment. So, there's that. But yeah, we definitely want to reward everyone. We definitely want voicemails and stuff for the year 5 Geekcast Radio episode 65. So that's definitely what we're working towards. Plus, the new site will launch in June.
Oh yeah.
So
if we hit 1,000 likes on Facebook, it might launch sooner than June.
I kind of wish, but doubt it. I can be hopeful.
Yeah. One of the prizes that I'm going to be donating is a DVD copy of Avengers Confidential, Black Widow, and Punisher. So that's one of the prizes I'll be donating. The rest of them are comics and stuff like that. More recent stuff that the comic shop will not buy back from me because they already have too many copies that they haven't sold yet. So,
but
they're all in. Oh yeah, but they're all in good condition and they're all bagged and boarded and everything else. What else have you been up to besides house hunting and purchasing and going through that rigmarole?
Yeah, the unfortunate part with that is that we were supposed to close the Wednesday of this week, and then we were supposed to close the day that this debuts, and then we were supposed to close next week on a Tuesday. Then we were supposed to close the Thursday. So I don't know exactly when I'm closing on my house. So it's kind of irritating because the other the other realtor for the guy selling the house is kind of a douchebag. So
yeah, I watch a lot of HGTV. I'm not ashamed to say that I have, but it's a very informative kind of thing when you watch like House Hunters and stuff like that, and whatever else. And I've learned a lot in watching HGTV over the last almost 10 years. And I'm kind of so glad I rent. I people say that renting you throw money away, but renting also affords you not to have to cut the grass, not to have to deal with a lot of different stuff that homeowners do. And the thing with me is, I'm physically disabled and I can't do half that stuff. I mean, it's just not, certain things are just not possible, especially with my eyesight. Whether I wear my glasses or not, I still can't cut the grass evenly every single row, So, yeah, I'm kind of glad I rent. Well, I think it's great to be able to actually say you own something, well, like a house or a car or whatever else, but um, some of the responsibilities and things that go along with it are just, it would be too much for me.
And to each their own, but I'm really looking forward to getting this damn house.
Oh yeah, no, I mean no, it's great for you. I mean it's going to be great for you. It's going to be great for your family, and that's awesome. So,
But
all right, what
but
are we here to talk about today?
well, I figured rather than going back to the media stuff, because obviously that's not as well liked, um, or gravitated towards. I figured we could go to something more fun, and we can include everybody else in it too, and they can answer it, in the comments area of the episode. Um, it kind of doubles as something for us to talk about and for questions. So, I figured we could hit on, some one thing from each category of things that uh, we're super geeky for, at least right now.
Hmm.
Because, being a geek, from time to time, your concepts change on what is your favorite thing.
Oh, most definitely.
Um, I'm famous for it too. I have a hard time narrowing down a movie. Um, TV shows are a little bit easier, cartoons are a little bit easier. So I figured we'll go with at least to start, maybe
Hmm.
like favorite soundtracks.
See, that's hard to nail down because I have a lot of them. Um, I will say one. Well, I will say right now my top three that I can't stop listening to is Iron Man 3 by Brian Tyler, Days of Thunder by Hans Zimmer, and Transformers the movie score by Vince DiCola. Now this is the score only soundtrack that he released recently, this year, in fact. This is not the score and the soundtrack that has stuff by Stan Bush and NRG and and Spectre General and all that. This is just the actual score from the film. Um, there's just something that's infectious for me when it comes to the Days of Thunder and the Iron Man 3 music. Uh, say what you will about Tom Cruise and his career, in the 80s, he, at least in my personal opinion, he had a lot of movies that I really liked, and I still like to this day, and Days of Thunder is one of those. Um, with Iron Man 3, let's face it, Tony Stark is pretty much the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point. I mean, I guess people could argue that Cap is going in that direction, especially after Winter Soldier just came out. But what Brian Tyler did with the music for Iron Man 3, because it's coming off of the events of Avengers, I mean, by Iron Man 3, Tony's a broken guy. I mean, in that movie, he admits he's got issues. He's not just that happy go lucky drunk playboy that he was in the first film. And the Transformers movie, it's the Transformers movie from 1986. Everybody that likes Transformers should love that music.
Yeah,
What about you?
I'm kind of flip flopping at the moment. Well, I mean, I can always love the original and Transformers the movie soundtrack. Even with having the other music in it, I find that.
Oh no, I love the other music. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Don't get me wrong. I love the other music. I'm just saying that the instrumental stuff is what I'm really hooked on right now. But go ahead. Sorry.
I've found myself, and as bizarre as this is, one of my favorite games is Command and Conquer Red Alert 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have Red Alert 3. I don't have Red Alert. I don't have any of the other Command and Conquer games at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I used to own a lot of them, but I don't have them anymore. But I have Red Alert 2 and the expansion, and I play that game more often than I've played any game in my entire life. As stupid as it is, I've beat that game so many times. But anyways, the soundtrack for it, I really enjoy. I like the music, the kind of grungy. It's definitely got like an early 2000s sound to it because it came out, I don't know, 2000, 2001, somewhere around there. It definitely looks dated, but it plays super well still to this day. On a Windows 8 PC, not so hot, but on a Windows 7, it still runs good. But I'm sure if I went out and bought the actual collector's edition with all of the games, they would be optimized for 8, but I'm kind of cheap, so I'm playing what I have. I may eventually break down it. It's only $30. I mean, I'll probably eventually do it because it comes with like 10 games of Westwood Studios Command and Conquer series. But I love the background music that they put behind everything. Some of it's a little grungy war stuff. Some of it's not my cup of tea, but most of it is pretty much upbeat. I really like it. That's what I've been kind of jamming out to at the moment.
Awesome.
So I guess we'll jump into favorite video game. I know you don't play that many modern stuff, but I mean it could be just any game that you're more taken with, I guess.
I gotta say, Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 from the original PlayStation 2 days. I can play those games over and over and over again. If I was going to really go retro, I would say something like the original Mega Man X and Super Mario World or Super Mario Brothers 3. It's not that I dislike today's games. I don't. I mean, I've been dying for the PC port for Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, literally, I'm waiting for any news about the stupid PC port for Grand Theft Auto 5. I've been playing Grand Theft Auto 4 for 6 years now, since it came out in 2008. I love playing that game. And here's the thing with me, folks. Yes, these first-person shooters are violent, but I grew up knowing the difference between real life and fantasy. I was never one of those kids that never learned you don't go out and shoot people just because you can do it on a video game. And it's a pretty good stress reliever. It really, really is. I mean, I can sit here and play for 1 to 2 hours on Grand Theft Auto 4 and still have a blast and jam out to some music or whatever else. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me in games. I'd say that Metal Gear Solid and 1 and 2 are tops on my list. I will also mention the PlayStation 1 classic Triple Play 2001 because they had a mode in that baseball game where you could be in different locations and do basically batting target practice and get different points for hitting different objects. Like you can play baseball in it's basically Jack and the Beanstalk, where Jack goes up to the Giant's house, pretty much. It's baseball in a living room, and if you hit like a picture frame, it's a certain amount of points. If you hit this, it's a certain amount of points. That or a certain amount of points, and I really love that game. That was awesome. What about you?
My I'm done with Batman Arkham Origins. More so because I already beat it. I have no reason to go back to it at the moment. For some reason, it doesn't hold the appeal that Arkham City did for me. I like the side missions better on Arkham City, like when you're going back through. Now, granted, I like how some of the gameplay and some of the additions and some of um the ways that you can switch between bat suits while you're in the game instead of having to go back. I like how that's the mechanics are of Arkham Origins, but I prefer Arkham City for some reason. Um, I am waiting for the expansion of Cold Heart um, for my game before I go back to it. But I've been actually a retro game that I've been playing a lot again is that Red Alert 2. But if I'm not going to use that as a cop out, so I've been playing Unreal Tournament 3 a lot.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
I've been playing Unreal Tournament since it was Unreal Tournament, like the first one back in '99, and
Yeah.
it was some of the levels were difficult and hard to play back then, and I don't, I didn't have a problem playing it. I actually liked some of the mechanics of it. Some of the levels are still translatable to now, um, but I played it through. I played that. I played 2004. And then I've played Unreal Tournament 3. Well, the funny thing is, I bought it for the PC when it first came out for the $60. And it came out, I think, maybe 2009, maybe 2010, somewhere around there. It's one of the few games. The sad thing is, PC games, I've actually paid the full price for, like the 50, $60. Console games, I will wait until they're on sale or cheap or used or Black Friday or whatever. So like the Batman games, I've gotten them all. Like Asylum, when I first played that, I played it bootleg. I actually did buy it off the internet, and it was cheaper. And then I discovered that it was crap and would not play, so I downloaded a bootleg. And I played it and beat it, which was insanely difficult. Only because I didn't have it on a controller. I eventually bought it for my 360, but that was after I got that. And then I bought, City and Origins for $29.99 after Black Friday. But Unreal Tournament and Diablo 3, I both spent $59 at the store buying it. And I haven't played either one on the PC quite a while. My Xbox version of Unreal Tournament, I've been playing a lot lately, but I think it's more so because I've gotten bored with the Batman, and I've got Batman games, I've got Green Lantern, I've got NHL, I've got a couple of Sonic and Spider-Man games. I've beat them all for the most part. So I'm kind of bored of them. I've beat Unreal Tournament so many times I can't count, just like Red Alert 2. But it's one of those guilty pleasure games that I know I sometimes can ramp up the difficulty. And I enjoy. Basically, I set up the capture the flag. I set up a random randomizer for the maps. I go in and I'm on my team. Most of the time, the computer's too stupid to figure out what I'm doing, or I'll get them all sidetracked with my teammates, and then I'll run in and steal the flag. Or once in a while, I'll get bored and I'll collect all the weapons from killing other people, and then I'll get a brunt force attack, and I'll run in and I'll just storm their base, killing them as I go through, steal their flag, and run back home. So I mean, I'm pretty damn good with the sniper rifle. I not to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty damn good with it in Unreal Tournament. That does not translate in any way, shape, or form to Call of Duty. I tried playing Call of Duty with my brother-in-law, and I was terrible. I suck at that game on so many levels. Unreal Tournament, even when I played it online for free, I could kick ass. But that's because everybody else was kind of stupid when I played. And I think it was like it's a little bit more difficult to handle, I think. Like as far as tactics, it was stupid, not the people themselves, mind you. But yeah, that was pretty much the problem. And then when you play Call of Duty, I mean, you get these guys that are just trigger happy. You're dead before you get started. So
Hmm. Yeah, you mentioned Unreal, and the first thing I thought of was Quake 3 Arena. Oh my god. Dude, you have no idea. I loved that game back in the day. Um, I also I loved playing the Kingdom Hearts games. I'm not much of a role playing gamer at all. It's just not my thing. But if you combine Disney with anything, especially something as cool as a story as Kingdom Hearts had, I'll go for it. And it was a fairly straightforward and easy role playing game. My other love for gaming is a franchise that finally got its own movie this year, Need for Speed. Now it depends on the game. I mostly usually gravitate towards the Most Wanted or the Hot Pursuit versions of Need for Speed. I don't usually go towards the Undergrounds or the Pro Streets game styles for Need for Speed. But I love playing those games. I really, really do. Um, I am a gamer. It's not something that I do all the time. I don't have a lot of systems. I just have my PC. I've been meaning to get some of the more recent Hitman games because I used to love playing those as well too. What's next on the agenda?
Alrighty. Um, let's go with TV show. And
My
again, just to preface this, it could be any TV show.
Well, I will say for my own personal taste, the two best cop shows I've ever seen that I absolutely love is Nash Bridges from CBS and The Shield from FX. As far as stuff that I'm watching right now, my two favorite kind of action spy thriller kind of shows are The Blacklist and The Americans. Um, Absolutely love those. Uh, what about you?
I wasn't too keen on Agents of Shield,
Until
but
it
the
got
last two
good.
episodes have kind of 360'd me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm.
well, until the ramifications of Captain America 2. That's really what took the whole series and changed it.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I don't know, man. You know, everybody was like, "Oh, Coulson's alive. Clark Gregg's coming back. It's gonna be Agents of Shield, and it's gonna." I just wasn't into it, and
Yeah, no, you've
I, no, I'm not. I'm not trying to be negative about it. I'm really not. I'm just saying that I wasn't into it. I actually used Booth Ninja's rule of give it first two, three, maybe even 4 or 5 episodes. I gave Agents of Shield 5 episodes past my initial pilot thoughts, and it still
well,
didn't grab me.
let me put
Go ahead.
it this way. You've watched his other and when I say his other, I mean Joss Whedon's other shows of Buffy and Angel,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes.
Did you watch Dollhouse?
No. I have yet to
Okay.
check out Dollhouse.
Okay, that was pretty good, but it didn't start getting good until season 2, which
Okay.
is when it got canned. Um, I think that because takes so long to explain something
Mm-hmm.
that could have been set up and explained sooner,
Mm-hmm.
him and his team, I mean, I think
Right.
it could
Right.
have been better sooner, uh, rather than where they finally got it at. Um, but I think that now that the Captain America thing is kind of taken effect, I think that the show's actually starting to get good because they've already explained everybody's origins. Everything's coming out in the open. Um, it's finally come to the point where you would have expected it to be 5 episodes in.
Uh,
Um, which from now on it'll hit the ground running. It's just when it started, it was kind of I admit I was kind of dragging my feet watching it because I was like, I don't know how much longer I can take it, but I really want to see the payoff of some of these things. And I was glad I stuck with it, even though I had waited a couple weeks and kind of put them together and blitzed through them.
Yeah.
And then I ended up watching them, and now I'm quite pleased that I stuck with it because, um, again, it's like watching Arrow season one. I had a hard time getting through that, but then once it hit season two, I was good as gold.
Yeah, that's fine, and maybe that's what Shield will do once season two picks up. I don't know. It just my main problem with the show is, and this is just coming before the Cap events. Outside of Sky, in the first initial 5 or 6 episodes, I didn't care for any of the other characters on the team.
Oh, they
Um,
make you care about him now.
okay, well,
It,
maybe
like I
I'll.
said, it took so long to set up. I can definitely see why you were turned off by it.
Yeah. Maybe when it gets to Netflix, I will give it another chance, but, and I know you're going to hate me for bringing this up, but I have to. I'm not going to sit through a whole season or multiple seasons of a television show that people keep telling me that, oh, it gets better. Oh, it's awesome. Oh, it's this. And it takes so damn long to do anything. Hint, hint, Breaking Bad. Um, what's next on the agenda?
All right, favorite cartoon.
Oh, God.
This is where I beat you with a stick here because
What?
you're no, I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying because you're like, damn, there's so many to choose from.
I know. There's so many to choose from. Oh my god. All right. I'm gonna say my favorite kind of current, but it's kind of already ended cartoon, and then I'm gonna talk about a couple of retro
I
ones.
think I know what you're talking about, but
Uh, my favorite cartoon in the last year and a half, since it actually started 3 seasons ago, is Transformers Prime. I see it as if I had kids today, this would be my kids' G1. I'm not saying that G that I wouldn't show my kid the original G1. I'm just saying Transformers Prime to me is the storytelling, is the music, is the voice acting, is the connectivity of everything. And it is very much what I would have wanted as a kid. Now, I'm not saying that the original G1 was bad. It was awesome as a kid. It was great. There are still a lot of episodes that I really love about that original show. For past cartoons, oh god, there's so many good ones. Um, the entire DC animated universe, with the exception of Zeta Project and Teen Titans, since those are not in continuity. Well, Zeta is through a crossover, but Zeta was a little too bright and yeah. Um, but I mean, from Batman the Animated Series, Superman, Batman Beyond, Justice League Unlimited, those 5 cartoons, absolutely love those. Um, and there's so many others I could list in there. I mean, my people, go look at the Tooncast Classic complete podcast listing on the website on geekcastradio.com, because those episodes are pretty much all my favorite Well, most of them are all my favorite cartoons. There are some that I kind of ragged on, like Snow White and the Seven Midgets, but let's not go there. What about you?
um, I always have a soft spot for Beast Wars and Batman the animated series.
Yeah.
Um, but another one that I really like is the Beware the Batman.
Did
Which
you hear the news? Did you hear the news about that?
yes,
Did you see that?
I am so stoked. It is coming back to Toonami.
Yeah, 3 a.m. though.
Yeah, I mean I'll take what I can get.
And the funniest thing, I don't think it's necessary. I assume once it wraps its season that Toonami will put it back. But I saw in the article that the World's Finest Online posted was that it's taking the 3 a.m. spot of Ghost in the Shell.
It's killing the anime.
But no, I am very happy that they are putting Beware the Batman on the Toonami block on Cartoon Network to kind of get the first season out. You know, everybody was like, "Oh, CGI Batman, no!" Because everybody loved Brave and the Bold, except for me and a couple of the people I know. And I'm not going to go into that whole negativity, but why I don't like that show. Fucking Oswald. Uh, you know, but everybody loved that, and then they were like, "Oh no, CGI Batman, no!" And I was really stoked. But where the Batman has done to this point is it's shown us Batman in a new light. It's given us a younger Alfred. Um, I, I guess in the Nolan films he was younger with Michael Caine, but he wasn't as young as the Michael Caine Alfred. I would say maybe 50s, 60s. Maybe? I don't know. How old do you think Michael Caine Alfred is in the Nolan verse?
I'd say older.
70s?
Yeah.
Okay.
60s, 70s.
This one seems like he's in his 50s in Beware the Batman. Like, he doesn't seem like so old.
Yeah, he's not white-haired or feeble. He's
bald.
Yeah.
He's Lex Luthor.
In a sense.
Not really, but yeah.
But better.
What I loved about Beware the Batman and what I will continue to love about that show is the fact that they didn't just go to as much as I love the regular Rogues Gallery, and as much as I will always say someone who isn't a part of the regular Rogues Gallery is just a one-off villain, that show used Batman villains that hadn't really had, like Professor Pig. Until I had seen Beware the Batman, I never knew who Professor Pig was. And now we're seeing. Have you seen Professor Pig pop up in all the other comics now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that he's popping up everywhere now. But Beware the Batman's awesome.
Well, did you see the information, though, about some of the episodes? They're actually bringing Ra's al Ghul in. They're going to have Professor Pig in it. They're going to have Two-Face. They're going to have Killer Croc.
Interesting.
For season 1.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they're holding off on Penguin, Riddler, Joker, all those. I think those should be like season 3, 4, if it gets that far. Because I definitely, again, I do love the characters of Riddler and Joker. I don't want to see them anytime soon because I want to see this Batman universe grow. Because I think, and they're doing it with like Man-Bat, and they are going to have an episode with Man-Bat and like a clone-ish, Hardak-ish Batman in the show. And one where he gets locked up in jail and some other stuff like that, according to the synopsis that have popped up. But I'm hoping that they don't fall into that same kind of trap that they usually do with, oh, we have to have the Joker. Oh, we have to have, because they're doing it with Man-Bat right now. But
yeah,
which I loathe that character. I prefer just about any other villain at this point other than that one.
I will say, and this is going to be kind of spoilers for anyone who is going to listen to the Beware the Batman coverage inside the pull bag. I will say what they did in the digital comic with the character was pretty interesting. How it wasn't... Well, I don't know if you've read those issues, but it wasn't... It was Kirk Langstrom, but it wasn't Kirk Langstrom. I thought that was interesting. But I do tend to agree with you, except for that case and the case in the Batman Beyond Universe 2.0 comic that they just wrapped up the Man-Bat story in that. But yeah, generally, I'm not that much of a fan of Man-Bat myself. I'm wondering, with the cast that we have in Beware the Batman, with the voice cast, if they ever brought Joker in, who would they get?
I think they should get the guy that did it in the Arkham games. Or Arkham Origins.
Was that Troy Baker?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure if I've heard Arkham Origins Joker.
He is almost indistinguishable from Mark Hamill.
Interesting.
Almost.
Now that's one DC animated movie I would love to see them do. Yeah, and I know that's the one that Mark said he would come out of retirement for. The Killing Joke. Oh, that would be so awesome.
Never know.
Never know. All right, any other categories?
No.
Okay.
Not right now anyway.
I will say, since I thought you brought it up with soundtracks, but it wasn't actual. It is music, but it isn't like regular music. Um, I will say that one of my favorite rock bands from Canada, surprisingly. Um, so I do like some things that are Canadian, other than JT from Saskatoon. One of my favorite Canadian rock bands, Theory of a Dead Man, is coming out with a new album July 8th called Savages. The first single, Drowned, premieres this coming Tuesday, and I cannot wait. I have been following these guys since Tyler Conley, the lead singer, premiered his debut guitar solo thing with Chad Kroeger in the Spider-Man movie song Hero. So I've been following those guys since they started. Absolutely cannot wait for new music from them. What else we got? What else are we doing this episode of the show?
Well, I figure we'll cover the little bit of feedback that applies, because some of it we may have to wait for Booth to come back.
Cool.
And then I figure we will talk about movie sequels and if they're actually required. So getting into, because last week we asked the question of were there some well, actually, I don't even think we asked it. I think one of the listeners asked it if there was a movie that we saw that we were kind of not really happy with after hearing who was cast in it, and we couldn't really think of anything. Kurt Titus on the the episode post said that he was excited for Lone Ranger until he heard Johnny Depp was cast, and after watching it, his worst fears were realized. And then he corrected me on the Wonder Woman movie because I couldn't find the exact article which explains why it was an April Fool's Day post.
Yeah, I fell into that trap.
I did too.
This is why I hate crap like The Onion. I hate when this is one of the reasons why, outside of the fact that we were too lazy to do any April Fool's stuff for GCRN this year, in the last 5 years we've never done April Fool's stuff. I can take a joke like the next guy, but I'm sorry. Fake news articles like the Wonder Woman movie is going to come before the Man of Steel sequel, and I just, oh God, I hate stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of at the same point at this point in time.
So the question was, have we seen any? What was the question again? I'm sorry.
If we'd seen any movies that, or heard about any movies and the casting, and it made us not happy that it was certain people were cast to that movie.
Yeah. Well, I hate to pile on I hate to add toppings to the turtle soup, but I don't care if it is just a voice. I just can't see Tony Shalhoub I just cannot hear Tony Shalhoub as Splinter or Johnny Knoxville as I can't I've seen Johnny Knoxville in like Walking Tall with The Rock, and I've seen Tony Shalhoub in like stuff like Wings and Monk and everything else that he's done. I just cannot hear in my head their voices as Leonardo and Splinter. So I will say that news has really put me on like, I don't know if this Turtles thing is going to work out.
I'll give it a shot.
I'm going to give it a shot, but I'm like when it first got announced and when we first saw the teaser trailer recently, I was skeptical. At this point, I'm teetering on the edge of skeptical and into full-on negativity. I'm not saying that I loathe it because it's a Michael Bay production or anything like that. I want the story to make sense, and we don't know the whole story yet. But I but I will say, in accordance to his question, that is the casting that kind of made me second guess my excitement for that movie.
Yeah, I kind of get it. But I don't really have one off the top of my head. Um, so getting into more of the feedback, um, I guess that'll be one we'll have to come back to. Um,
Yeah.
Dragono says what Marvel is doing with Shield reminds me of the front page comics they did during Civil War and Secret Invasion, showing the effects of major events on the more normal day-to-day characters. If anything, that may be a better way to go because you can increase the scope of the show a lot easier. I'm not too familiar with the Civil War and Secret Invasion. I know that there's a lot that goes on, but I don't know exactly what pertains to it. Um, Maybe if you got some suggestions, maybe for something for me to check out to kind of get acquainted with it and how that might tie into Shield or whatever. I'd be open to reading it and kind of giving my thoughts about it. If you can point me in the right direction, I guess.
If Civil War and Secret Invasion are broken up into several different manageable trades, we might cover it in the pull bag. Um, but yeah, I'm not very familiar with that either. And so, my question would be to the listeners: do you guys think that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just going to continue to cross events between the films in itself? Or is it going to actually have its own damn stories? Now, don't get me wrong. I will say the appeal for me to watch the show is when Nick Fury shows up, or if Iron Man, if the big guns show up. Because like I said previously in this episode, I don't really give a crap about the actual characters that are there right now. So do you guys think that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will remain a crossover show for the films, or do you think it can stand on its own without having to cross over all the time with every single film that Marvel puts out?
I think it'll be both. I think now that it's kind of unleashed this gate of Shield crashing because of Hydra,
Uh-huh.
because of
Yeah.
Captain America 2, I think that the show, the dynamic will change. Spoiler alert for anybody that saw Shield this week, um, or didn't see it. Um, they have the clairvoyant, aka Bill Paxton, and Agent Ward, uh, who is evil. They're Hydra members. They break the girl with the flower dress out, and then they kind of go into Shield's hub and steal a bunch of Shield equipment that Nick Fury had socked away. And they said that now that Nick Fury's out of the way, we can actually get all these nice little toys that he was too afraid to get rid of. And Bill Paxton's saying all this, and Agent Ward's thinking that, they shot him into space and blew him up. And he says, no, we just sent a bunch of, random empty rockets out to give the appearance we were blowing it up. He says, but Fury was too paranoid, coming from the guy that experimented with the Tesseract and brought the alien invasion on. He says, once in a while we throw a monkey in the rocket and send it out too, but and then Ward shows him where the gravity enemy, the gravity thing that they confiscated that the scientists got sucked into earlier in the season.
Oh yeah.
They get that back out, and then Bill Paxton's character lets everybody out that Shield had locked into little 5x5 cells.
Oh, interesting.
So
Yeah, I thought you were gonna.
It's gotten quite interesting.
I thought you were gonna say they threw a raccoon into the rocket.
No. But they also reveal that they know that Fury's still alive, and nobody's heard from him since the events of Captain America 2, and they said that only Captain America, Romanoff, Maria Hill, and Patton Oswalt's character know where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
Or know that he's alive.
Yeah.
So, they leave that can of worms, and then I believe the next episode Maria Hill shows up, and works with Coulson, and she works for Tony Stark now, as of the end of Captain America 2.
Interesting.
Which leads me to another thing, because I know, or at least I think I know, that in the comics, I believe Nick Fury created a smaller band of S.H.I.E.L.D. that he controls, rather than having this big board. And I kind of brought that up last week a little bit. I think it's either going to go that route, which I still believe it may, but there's also, I was hearing something about that Tony Stark, in some other continuity somewhere, ended up creating his own S.H.I.E.L.D. that he managed and had some of the actual S.H.I.E.L.D. people and the Avengers in, that he could oversee.
I don't know if it's two separate entities, and listeners, you're going to have to help us out with this. I do know of the fact that at one point Tony was director of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I don't know if it was Nick went off with his own band and Tony had the regular S.H.I.E.L.D., or Nick stepped down and Tony was appointed. I don't know the logistics of it, but I do know at one point Tony was director of S.H.I.E.L.D. See, this is why we need the ailing Boothninja here to inform us about this crap.
Yeah, because I really don't know. I'm actually quite interested, being that, for one, DC's been pissing me off lately, but comic-wise. So I'm interested to hear about good storytelling, even though I may not be familiar with a lot of the characterizations. So I guess, again, point us in the right direction. Jedi Disaster says, did you guys use Reddit at all? I just started using it after I heard so many people talk about it. I'm super confused. It's like traveling to a different country. I looked at the webpage. I cannot make rhyme or reason of it. It looks to me like the old, like, alt dot,
Sure, the old Transformers boards, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks kind of like that to me, but it's so confusing. I don't know what I'm looking at.
I don't use Reddit. I don't use Pinterest. I don't use Instagram. I do have a Tumblr, but I never actually post anything to it. I more so follow people on there. Unless it's Facebook or Twitter, as far as a social network, that's pretty much all I use. I don't use a lot of these other, I don't want to say second rate, these other secondary sites, or these other, like, I have a hard, because I keep up with all the network stuff on both Twitter and Facebook. Not that I'm complaining that I do that, because if I didn't do it, I'd probably go nuts. But, I have a hard time keeping up with half the crap on Twitter and Facebook, let alone any other social media outlet. I mean, hell, since GetGlue became TV Tag, I pretty much have dropped that for, like, I used to check into GetGlue all the time for almost everything. I used to use GetGlue all the time, and now I maybe use it 3 nights a week to get stickers for the shows that I actually watch. But now it's just kind of gone downhill. So to answer your question, no, I never used Reddit.
Yeah, I looked at it. It's so super confusing to me. I didn't even want to mess with it.
Yeah.
I guess if somebody can tell me what the hell the point of it is, because I guess I just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a giant threaded message board that just looks like a cluster, and I like something with at least some formatting. I'm not saying I like Facebook and I like Google or I like Twitter, the web interfaces, because I really don't. But I don't like having all text, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it had some kind of a rhyme or reason of how it was laid out, I might be able to get it better.
Yeah.
Pinterest, I personally have no interest in. I know what it's for. My wife uses it. I think it's, and no offense to anybody that uses it, but I think it's more of like something women get into. I can't. I don't see the reason. I mean, I understand it. Don't get me wrong. I really do, but I personally can't see the reason why I would use it. Um. So, next question. Maybe we'll have to wait for Booth to come back, see if he's used it. Beyond Humor says, have any of you checked out Mike Judge's new show, Silicon Valley? I'm loving it so far. It's like Office Space for the tech community. And it's just great. We have more Mike Judge comedy out there. The cast is strong and full of people from the podcast community. And then Andre Walters says, I just caught the first 2 episodes. I thought it was funny for the most part and really liked the characters. Can't stop watching. I've stopped watching AOL because all the characters were annoying. But Cap 2 has me intrigued to go back and pick it up again. Must be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
This is AOL, but yeah.
Maybe it's a typo.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
No, I haven't seen the new series for Mike Judge. His style, not necessarily his comedic style, but his style, the style of his animation, is just not my thing.
Well, I don't think it's animation. It's live.
Is it? Oh,
It's
it's
people.
live.
It's people.
Okay.
Um,
Well, then I'll have to look into it because all as I really know him from is animation.
yeah, he did Beavis and Butthead, didn't he?
Yep.
Okay. I
He
thought
also
so.
did King of the Hill.
I thought so. I don't like his animation, but I liked Office Space.
Beavis.
I prefer King of the Hill over Beavis and Butthead. I don't personally care for it.
Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill. What else? I mean, I love his comedy in Office Space, but yeah, no. All right, let me look at this. Silicon Valley. 6 programmers living together and trying to make it big in Silicon Valley. So, is this supposed to be a reality show? It doesn't say. It says it's an American sitcom, but it just that line. It's an American sitcom that centers on 6 programmers who are living together and trying to make it in Silicon. That sounds like the real world to me. I know this is not a reality show, but that's what it just sounds like to me.
If people are saying it's good, maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah, maybe I will too, eventually.
I have HBO, so I can actually go back and check it out. I think it's on HBO. I believe it is. Yeah, it is. King of Kong says, I agree that the first season of Walking Dead wasn't good, but that first episode was well put together. The show didn't really start getting good until maybe the end of season 2. Maybe good is a strong word. Also not sure if it was just me, but... And then he talks about Mike cutting out a few times, which it probably did. It was probably Skype. It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, of course, you commented.
What? I don't even remember what I said.
You've liked Blacklist from day one.
Oh, yeah.
And then you wanted Tom to die because we were talking about Tom and
Oh, yeah.
Lizzie.
Well, see, that's the thing. When I was listening to last week's show, Boothninja said, this is mainly for TFG1 Mike, and I don't want to he's basically trying to, I don't want to say pussyfoot around the issue, but he was basically trying to let me down gently that he hasn't liked the show, and that's fine. That's his opinion. I just like it because I think now that, we've had Breaking Bad, we've had all these basic cable television shows that make use of this mid-season finale and then the final season finale. Take the 2012 Dallas series, which is still going. It's in season 3 right now. They just had their mid-season finale. They're going to come back and do the final episodes of season 3 later in August of this year. So I think what my point of all this is that the networks, the big networks, are really paying attention to the cable networks and utilizing new ways to keep viewers anticipating for the shows. And the Blacklist has done this. They had a mid-season finale that kind of left it on a cliffhanger. Um, I absolutely love that they did a Die Hard homage in one of their episodes. It was absolutely awesome.
In the Blacklist?
Yeah, they the two-parter Anslo Garrick episode. There is one because Liz has to break into the post office, the Blacklist site. She breaks in, and at one point she has to take her shoes off, and she's running around barefoot, like John did in Die Hard 1.
Huh.
It's very interesting. But no, I get Booth's his frustration with it about it not going as fast or not really doing stuff as fast as he'd like it to. But I think now that we've gotten the reveal of Tom, and actually this coming Monday it's coming back, and this Monday's episode is supposed to be Tom versus Lizzie. And the promo for it is absolutely amazing. I might actually have you embedded in the post. I'll get you the link later. But no, it was just one of those things where Monday nights I needed something new to watch outside of The Voice, which I'm not really that impressed with at this point. I still like the show, but it's nothing like it was in season 3. But I needed something to watch on Mondays, and as I've said elsewhere online, I've never really been a fan of James Spader in some of his other work. Not that I think he's a bad actor or anything like that. I just haven't really gotten his style, and this character with what he's doing with Red Reddington, absolutely love it. I mean, it's so great and mysterious and very... He's basically the villain everybody loves to hate at this point.
Makes sense. So I think we'll take a quick break and come back with maybe a shortened version of the topic after this.
Ah, brave new world that has such putzes in it. You know, kids, a lot has changed while your old Uncle Joker's been away. New Gotham, new rules, even a new Batman.
It isn't 65 years in the future, but Legends of the Dark Knight has gone beyond. Batman Beyond, that is.
Ah, the new boy. Ears are too long and I miss the cape, but not too shabby. Not too shabby at all.
Join Steve and Mike as they delve into the remaining episodes of the podcast, where they'll cover Batman Beyond, products, games, and more. Check it out only on GeekCastRadio.com. Alrighty, and we're back with Altered Geek Unlimited. Yes, I sprung this on Mike last minute, but I figured a quick, maybe 10-minute jump into this would be sufficient. It has to be, basically it's to talk about the fact that studios keep making sequels. And what basically we deem as a good concept for a sequel or a bad concept for a sequel.
Okay.
The case in point of a good sequel would be like, Captain America 2, Avengers 2.
Well, you don't know if Avengers 2 is going to be... I'm not saying it's going to be a bad sequel, but you don't know.
Yeah, I know. But I mean,
come out yet.
It's a direct... I guess what I should say is it's a direct... because of events of another film, but it's fairly recent. It's within the same few years. There's not a 10 to 20 year gap.
Yeah.
So when you look at things like Die Hard 5, it was a travesty.
I still have yet to see it. I'm still waiting for it to appear on Netflix.
It's on cable. I've seen it on HBO probably 3 or 4 times already, mostly because nothing else was on, and I was sitting on my computer on my laptop. So, but it's a terrible movie. And then they're talking about doing a Die Hard 6. Honestly, I would have just left it alone at 3 or 4. Because 4 wasn't that bad. I found it more interesting than 2. 2 was like the guys that were writing and directing it were trying to rehash what happened in the first one, just with a plane instead of a building. Whereas the third one, you had the original writer and director from the first film come back and do it right. And then, 4 had legitimate, kind of stuff happening, although there were some storyline elements that were terrible. And then you get to 5, and it was unneeded. It was just so terrible. And then they're talking about doing a 6th one and bringing back Sam Jackson from the 3rd film.
Unless he steps down from Nick Fury, or unless he's not appearing as Mace Windu in Star Wars Episode 7, I don't know if he would come. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and speak for the man, but I can't see him coming back for... I see him coming back for Incredibles 2 before I see him coming back for Die Hard 6.
See, I see it going the other way. I see him coming back for Die Hard 6 before Incredibles 2, and he won't be in Star Wars. He's dead. They won't bring him back.
Yeah, that's right.
They won't do the Force thing. He wasn't that important.
Yeah.
He was important in the first trilogy. That he may pop up as a Force ghost in the the Star Wars Rebels animated series, but he ain't gonna show up.
Yeah, that's
because Luke would be like, "Who the hell are you? I'm Mace Windu, bitch."
I forgot the Emperor killed him. It's been a while since
he threw his ass out the glass window. But so I mean, yeah, there's that. But then you look at things like the rumors of Ghostbusters 3 that's been in production limbo for the last 8 years, and then you get Beetlejuice 2 is in the works, or and I'm not even talking about reboots. I'm just talking about sequels. Like, reboots are more legitimate than a sequel to a 10, 20-year-old franchise. Yeah, or not franchise, but film. Because they're starting over from scratch.
Yeah, reboots are a different animal altogether.
And then, of course, today we get news that, Mrs. Doubtfire sequel is in the works. And I'm thinking in my head, while I enjoyed the first movie, that's not a movie that needs a sequel.
Yes, I agree. It's not a movie that needs a sequel. It had a good beginning, middle, and end. It had a really great ending that left you knowing that Daniel Hillard's life was going to be better off at the end of the movie. So it does not necessarily need a sequel. The funny thing is, now that I've been thinking about this over the last hour that we've done this show, hour or so that we've done the show here, is that I keep seeing the picture of Robin back in '94 in the Mrs. Doubtfire suit and makeup and all that.
You wouldn't need much prosthetics now.
I was going to say, I've seen him in the Crazy Ones. Not that I don't like the Crazy Ones as a CBS comedy, but I've seen him in the Crazy Ones. I personally think he is too old to dress and drag and do the hula.
I think he could do it. I'm
not saying he can't do it.
If anybody is going to sign on, and there's speculation, rumors going around saying that he did sign on, but I think that this is still in one of those, internet frenzy periods where people are going, he's signing back on. Oh, he's not going to do it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Or, just stupid crap. But you have, even Mara Wilson, who played Natalie. In the 93 film, basically said on Twitter, for the record, no, I do not have anything to do with the Mrs. Doubtfire sequel, nor will I.
Yeah.
She says, I've been in some mediocre films, but I've never been in a sequel, and I have no interest in being in one now. Sequels generally suck unless they were planned as part of a trilogy or series. I think Mrs. Doubtfire ended where it needed to end, which I completely agree.
I completely agree too. You mentioned Die Hard earlier with its multiple sequels. And you keep saying about, oh, well, if it's not a sequel to a film that's 20 or 30 years old. Look at the turn that Beverly Hills Cop took in 10 years. Beverly Hills Cop, the first film, came out in 84. 2 came out in 87, so that's a 3-year gap. 3 came out in 94, 10 years after the first film. Now, I like certain parts of Beverly Hills Cop 3, but it is by no means a good movie whatsoever.
No.
And then there were massive, massive rumors over the last, I would say, 6 years that a fourth film was going to be made, and now supposedly there's a TV series going to be made where it's Axel Foley's son. If they do a TV series, I'd be fine with it if they're going to make it a continuation of the Axel Foley character or his offspring or something. I do not need a Beverly Hills Cop 4. I do not need a Beverly Hills Cop reboot either. I don't know. One of my... I know you didn't want to get into reboots, but I'm just going to say this really quickly. One of my biggest... And it's... I understand why they do reboots, specifically for comic book movies, to retell an origins. Like Batman, every time you do a Batman movie, at least so far, between the Burton Schumacher franchise and the Nolan verse, they redid the origin a bit, and the Nolan verse made it more true to the comics, because there was nobody dancing with the devil by the pale moonlight, but and I understand why they need to do reboots because of the new audiences and everything else, but there's sometimes I wish they would not do reboots because of the rest of us that know what the hell we're expecting. Like if Iron Man 4, 5, 6, or whatever ever happens, or if Downey Jr. gets to a point in his life where he says, he feels that he's too old to play Tony Stark, and they need to recast, I can see a reboot that way if they're going to do someone else's origin. But if they're going to do a reboot with someone else playing Tony Stark, I probably won't see it because the first film was fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's something that I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I personally, I'm kind of over the whole having sequels of things that are done in past. Like, if they were to do another Lethal Weapon with the original guys, I might see that. But if they were to do another one after that, I wouldn't see it. Like, it's like Die Hard. I liked Die Hard 4, but 5 is terrible. It's one of those things that you can recapture the magic sometimes once, but you usually don't recapture it again after that. Like Dumb and Dumber, they did Dumber and Dumber after the first Dumb and Dumber.
But let's face it,
and it was a prequel, and it was terrible. But because it was not planned ahead of time, and it didn't have the original actors, whereas now they're coming back to it. And granted, it's the same production, same actors, same writers, everything. So it's going to be a logical progression.
Yeah.
But if they were to do another film after this second one, it would be terrible.
Yeah. If you think about it, okay, I've been wanting to mention this on a podcast for about a month and a half or so. Look at the Expendables franchise, and look what that has done for not only current action stars, but classic action stars. You haven't had Arnold, Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis has Die Hard, but you haven't had them in a regular action movie in a very long time. And the Expendables movies, I absolutely love. I cannot wait to the third one because technically the third Expendables movie could possibly be Lethal Weapon 4 because they're, or not 4, 5, because they're adding Mel Gibson to the Expendables. But I love that franchise. I love that all these old now classic action stars are finding more success on the big screen these days. Um, and that's a franchise I will always watch as long as, they keep bringing in really cool people and kind of keep having the same characters. I mean, that's a good character building movie. Um, all right, what else do we got? What else you want to talk about?
Actually, I think that's pretty much it.
Awesome. We got any questions for the listeners this week?
I would probably pose what's your opinion on the sequels? I mean, do you think that films that are pretty much done and over with should get a new film to come after it, or do you think they should leave it alone? Would you rather they rebooted it and had a whole new start if they're going to keep going with sequels rather than go back and play around with the same people again 20, 30 years later?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you mentioned, the Expendables, I think that scenario works because it's playing around with what they're good at and what they're known for, but it's not rekindling an old franchise.
Exactly.
So, I mean, in that regard, I like it. I mean, if they're going to do the Mrs. Doubtfire kind of thing and have it instead of having the family and have him, where he's, maybe in LA doing the show or something as Mrs. Doubtfire or whatever, and then there's some kind of a goofy complication that goes on between there. I mean, and not needing the kids in it. Then I could see it because let's put it this way. I think, and I could be wrong, none of the other actors that were the kids really do anything anymore. So I can't see any of them showing up.
Yeah.
And then the one that played the ex-wife that was with Pierce Brosnan and
Sally Field.
Yeah, I mean, she's,
she's May Parker.
Yeah, she's Aunt May. So I mean, that's really what she's got going on right now. So, and then Pierce Brosnan, what the hell has he done since he stopped being Bond? So,
yeah, that's a good question. What the hell has he done since he
was in that
being Bond?
He was in that Mamma Mia movie, and then I never saw him again.
I need to find out what the hell he's been doing since he left Bond.
But I mean, that would be one of the questions. The other thing is there a topic that we have not talked about that you would like to hear about? Because I think we're doing good without hitting on the news, and I think we're doing good without hitting on Batman Superman, because really there hasn't been all that much information. It's just been information saying, yep, there's information coming.
Yeah,
which isn't noteworthy. I mean, is that they're talking, Zack Snyder and was it planned to have Bruce Wayne, blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, thanks for that non-information there.
Okay. Since wow, Mamma Mia was 2008. Holy crap. He was in I believe the first Percy Jackson movie. Percy Jackson, The Olympians. More recently, he was in The World's End in 2013. The Love Punch in 2013. Coming up this year, he's got A Long Way Down, November Man, How to Make Love Like an Englishman, which is kind of crazy title since he's Irish. Whatever. Oh my God. Wow. Take this with a grain of salt, everybody. But, and I mean, take it with a huge grain of salt because it's Wikipedia. But according to this, TBA, The Expendables 4 announced.
Seriously? If James Bond is going to be in the Expendables 4, I just got even more excited for that franchise.
What's sad is I've never seen one of the movies.
Really? You haven't?
Yeah,
I
have not.
Watch it.
I have the first two. That's the sad part.
Wait, you have them on DVD or digital or whatever?
Yes.
Oh my, dude!
I just haven't had time to watch them.
Go watch those movies. I'm not saying they're the best thing ever.
Oh no, I know they're not.
really, really good for what they are.
It's fun seeing, you know, the old actors playing the same old song and dance.
And see, here's my thing. The Expendables franchise, in any other movie that, say, Arnold appears in and he says, I'll be back, or, whatever, hasta la vista, baby, it seems like a trope. It seems like, oh, they're just cashing in on the line or whatever. And I don't mean cashing in by them actually getting money because he said the damn line. I mean just, throwing the line in there to throw it in there. In the Expendables, all these guys, all these old classic action heroes, or action movie heroes, I should say, they can throw out their lines within the story of the Expendables movies, and it doesn't matter if Arnold says, I'll be back in the Expendables, because it's an homage to his other role while he's in the role of the character he's doing with the Expendables. But no, dude, oh God, why haven't, go watch those damn movies.
Hey, I plan on it.
Uh-huh.
I do. I've been wanting to watch those. It's just maybe now that the third one comes out this year, doesn't it?
Yes.
See, maybe I'll watch it closer to that, so then I actually just blitz through, watch 1, 2, and then hit 3. When does that come out?
Expendables 3?
Yeah. I think it's soon, isn't it?
Yeah, fairly soon. 3. Let's see here. Expendables 3. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We know this is amazing podcasting, right? August 15th.
Oh, okay. So it's right around TMNT time.
Unless TMNT has been pushed back to December.
I don't think so.
I know. One can only hope. Can't one?
Yes.
That's a bad Robin Williams Bicentennial Man joke. All right, I think we're losing steam, dude.
Yeah, I was actually planning on...
Or we're going crazy. Who knows?
I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind.
Oh, I just found it. It's over there on the floor.
Oh, shit. All right, so thank you as always for joining us here on Altered Geek Unlimited. You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. You can email us feedback at geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on the website geekcastradio.com. You can find us on Facebook fan page. You can also contact us on Twitter at geekcastradio, #AlteredGeek. My contact for Twitter is at SCP21, and yours is, sir?
TFG1 Mike.
So, as always, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks. Catch you next time.
Oh my god. Magic Mike sequel gets title release date. July 3rd, 2015. And instead of simply calling the sequel Magic Mike 2, Tatum and his team have conjured up a more memorable title, Magic Mike XXL. Seriously? Are you flipping kidding me? Oh my god. Hollywood.
It should be double XSM. Double extra small.
Hollywood, I shake my fist at you.
With your tiny little testicles.
Tickle him.